Hello and welcome to the second episode of If You Can, I Can, dedicated to all the inspiring people out there in the Hilton Head community. Today I am so excited and honored to have with me Rich Thomas. Thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure, Kim.
I wanted to start with reading just a fraction of your many accomplishments, but Rich is a husband to Suzanne, father, grandfather, a Princeton graduate, former corporate executive, president and CEO of Legacy Leadership, author, leadership consultant. He is also a lacrosse coach, history buff, founding CEO of the Outpatient Surgery Center, and I could keep going on. Is there anything you haven't done? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, there's plenty of things that I haven't done and that I really intend to do, Kim. Yes, absolutely.
And I have no doubt you'll get those
I'll work
done.
at it.
So when you and I first met, we met probably about four years ago. I met you as a lacrosse coach of one of my sons, and that's a sport you've been very involved in South Carolina. That's something we'll talk about later. But one of the things that's always stuck out to me about you is just your warmth and grace. And from the first time I met you, I was really inspired and kind of in awe. It's hard to describe until you've actually had that conversation with you, but you just really leave everybody feeling appreciated and all those things, and that's really a gift. Where does that come from?
You know, I really didn't know that I did that or had that gift. And as I guess as I think about it, it probably has something to do with the way I'm wired to connect to people. But if I dig down, and this is the one that made me think a lot when you suggested this as a question, it's really I think a belief that we all have value, every one of us, and we have something that is unique and special in a way that it enables us to make a difference for others. And I really like to know what that is about people. So I probably try
You're very good
to
at
find that. So that may be where it comes from.
You really are good at that, and I think that's why people are drawn to you, is because we all want to feel valued. And just by talking to you, you really do walk away feeling like that. So that is,
well, I'm humbled by that.
A true gift. So switching gears, when did you and your family move to Hilton Head, and what brought you here?
We moved full-time in 1998. We bought our house here in 97, but our son was finishing up 7th grade at the time, so we decided to let him do that. And then we came down the following year in time to be here for school. And our daughters were both up and out at the time, and he was getting ready to enter a point in his schooling that was going to make a difference for college. And so where we were was very rural. And their schools were geared to VOTEC and ag as opposed to academic college prep.
Yes.
So we
and as a Princeton graduate, that was obviously very important.
We just wanted to get him somewhere where he could get that piece of it a little more intensively, and we didn't want to send him away to school. So we knew Hilton Head, and we were kind of tired of the snow up north, and time to come
And where
down.
were you guys coming from?
We were coming from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. What part?
The corner of Pennsylvania where New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania meet. Called Pike County. It's got more black bear than it has people.
Wow.
It was a very
So this
cool
was a big switch.
Big switch.
Big switch.
Big switch.
So as you mentioned, you and Suzanne had 3 children, Jennifer, Katie, and Rhett, and I'm not sure if I'm saying them in the correct order, but Rhett was at Hilton Head Prep, and your family experienced something unthinkable, and I was wondering if you could share that with us.
Yeah, I mean, every parent's worst nightmare is a child suffering from a disease that can't be cured. And so we came here, Rhett started prep that fall, and had a wonderful football season. Started out great in basketball, looked like he was losing a step in basketball. Then the spring season started, and it was our first year that we actually had a lacrosse team, but he started JV soccer for prep as well. And so in the soccer games, he just didn't have his normal spark, and we got him checked, and people suggested he was suffering from growth plate things and those types of things. And then finally, he was diagnosed with having a fairly rare form of childhood cancer that was very difficult. And so we immediately took him up to Sloan Kettering in New York and got him the best care we could find. And he was just unbelievable during the time that we had with him, which was about a year from that time. And it was horrible. But you know what happened? This community was so incredible. I mean, we had just come in to the community and hardly knew anybody here. And
which had to even be more difficult just because.
It was. I mean, we knew a few people, but I mean, we were embraced. The prep community was just astounding, and then the town, and everybody kind of as an outreach from that. So we had a lot of support from this wonderful place.
Yeah. Wow. That's really tough. And how did you all find the strength to overcome the loss of a child and your only son and turn it into something good? You guys established the Rhett Pediatric Foundation. You had the Rhett Memorial Basketball Tournament for many years at Prep, and the Run for Rhett, which you've had for a long time. What did that do for you all as a family, and also maybe for other families out there with sick children? Or,
you know, Kim, I mean, we didn't find I guess the strength was provided for us by our family, and we had our first grandchild born shortly after Rhett passed away.
Wow.
And it was really just kind of a symbol of a new hope for the future. Not that it could ever replace our son, but, you know, just something that was a focus forward as opposed to being just caught in the mire. And so that started to, and then we just started to get involved. We decided that, you know, we didn't want Rhett forgotten, and we started doing things to try to help his memory stay alive. One of the things that he had always said to us when he knew that he was probably not going to make it was that he wanted us to give back. He wanted us to give back to other people who were suffering from the same kind of thing. So he was the inspiration to starting the foundation. And then that started helping a lot of people around the country. We had a website. We worked with the hospitals to have them funnel people to us. And then what we did over time, we started to realize there were so many people needing help here in the Low Country that we brought our focus back here. And so for the final years of our work with the foundation, we focused here on the Low Country, and mostly Hilton Head and Bluffton. And there were unfortunately plenty of families that needed that support. So,
and what a blessing y'all have been to so many people, and just his legacy and life to others, and really incredible and inspiring what you all have done in his honor.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, his memory is very much alive in so many ways, and that's so important to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you have also had some of your own health battles. And I recall one in particular, about a year and a half ago, you suffered a heart attack at one of the games. And of course, everyone loves you so much, so everyone was deeply concerned. But I remember you coming back. You weren't on the coaching side, you were on the parent side when you came back later in the season. And I saw you and just wanted to come give you a hug and encourage you. And I remember walking away from that thinking, oh, gosh, I went to go encourage him, and I feel encouraged by him walking away. So what happened there? But again, it's that resolve you have. Is that something you intentionally work on at all?
You know, I don't know that I intentionally work on it. I know that it's something that I always aspire to, and the models that I choose to follow. And that resolve has marked the lives of a lot of members of my family that have overcome a lot of difficulties in their lives, but also some people from history that I, have studied deeply and love.
That's a great segue. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So moving to history, you are an avid history buff, obviously. And I read you provide leadership and team development education to corporate executives using historic battlegrounds here in order to do that. And that to me really just struck me as so fascinating because, talking to these leaders in this place of where strategy is needed and leadership and all those things is really just an incredible concept. And so, because business and life is just a battle in and of itself, right? So,
Well,
how did you come to that idea?
Battle's a great metaphor for business, and business has borrowed so many pieces of language from the military in the way they conduct their
Right.
daily lives in business. And so the opportunity to do leadership development training that was based on military leadership training is something I was familiar with from my time in the military, and also from working with a number of people who had been career academicians at West Point.
Right.
So we figured out a way to actually develop case studies about these people who were ordinary people put into these extraordinary situations where they rose to the challenge in one way or another. And we would look at the case studies and use them as examples of leadership in certain situations with certain dynamics. And then you relate the dynamics and the situations back to the corporate world, which has the very same things going on. Very different context, not the same risks, but anyway, so it works really well, and you're on the ground where these things were accomplished that are amazing.
Right.
And it's inspirational at the same time. It's incredibly instructional in a very gripping way.
Oh, I can imagine.
Leaves a lot of images.
It's brilliant. I really thought that was really fascinating. And
Thanks.
So you're an author.
Yep.
You wrote the book Backwater Frontier, which we will show to you in a moment. But your motive behind it, I read, was to get all the just phenomenal stories told from the area. And I'm just curious, first of all, I feel like that book could be really instrumental to me as a reader, just trying to sell real estate here and knowing more about the island and being able to speak to specific things. But one of the things I was just really curious about in your love for history is there somebody in time that you have studied and learned that just really has kind of been a leader and inspired you in the way you think and operate?
Yeah, there are a number
I'm
of
sure there's
them,
many.
but I mean, one in particular that I had the absolute privilege to be able to even be with for a short period of time was General Hal Moore. He was known for being the commander in the first pitched battle against the North Vietnamese in the Vietnam War. And I met Hal when he was about 88 years old. We were working on a leadership book, but he had this principle, and it was, no matter what your situation, there's almost one more thing you can do to improve it, or your outcome. One more thing you can do to improve it. And if that fails, there's another, and there's another. And so that, resolve that you talked about earlier really is borne out through his example, and what he was able to accomplish was amazing.
Wow.
And then there are others that fall into that same category.
But it's that concept of, and you had spoken about it earlier, even in regards to rep, but it's always look forward, always move forward, learn from what has been, but always move, keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I am a big reader, and like I said, I'm definitely, your book is now way up on my list to read. So, but I was really actually amazed. My guest that I had on the first episode, Sherry, she spoke of some books that were important to her, and how many people reached out to me afterwards asking, what were those books? What were those books? And so you as an author and an avid reader and all those things, what are 3 books that have been impactful for you?
Well, the Bible.
Yes.
By far.
The book.
I actually started as a religion major at Princeton to go to divinity school, but and then there's one that Rhett gave me. It was called The Art of Happiness, and it's written by the Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama. And then depending on the time, it was either like Moby Dick or The Red Badge of Courage, which just kind of happened to grab me at a particular point in my development. So.
Okay, well, those are good, and I will post those in the comments. So now switching gears back to how people find you inspirational, and I think I shared the story with you, but I told my son I was going to be talking with you, and he just paused and said, "Oh, he's awesome." And knowing how much he's always respected you and really looked up to you, I asked him in particular, I said, "What is it about Coach Thomas that you love so much?" And he just said, "Because he believes in me." And I found that so powerful, because we all just want to be believed in. And so again, just a gift you have. And as a coach for Hilton Head Lacrosse, you focus on player development, which is very fitting. So tell me why that is important to you.
Well, Kim, I mean, I think, when kids are going through that phase of their development, they very rarely can see in themselves the things that we can see in them. And that's just based on our experience. And after working with thousands of youth at that particular phase in the high school years of their careers, you can see the special things. You can see those incredible talents. And then to encourage those to be developed, because, we're all born with those different talents that make us unique and different. But to make them the most that they can be, we have to work at it. And so it's really, that's where development comes in. So I focus on their unique strengths and talents and try to encourage them to work on developing them. Yeah. In addition to their weaknesses.
And I right. I just think that's really, they're so fortunate to have you doing that, just because, as the parents, we all work on the correction piece, and you speak to their strengths and remind them of what they can be. And in addition, outside of the home. So that's wonderful. So it's really been a pleasure to have you sit beside me here. I want to give you one of our bracelets. You can wear it or give it to somebody that inspires you.
Thank you.
But it just means so much to me to have you sit here and share your story and wealth of knowledge, of which you have so much more than we've had time to talk about. But I just thank you so much. And there's one last question that's always kind of my parting question here, and that is, what would you say to people who were going about their life and life just suddenly took a hard left? What would be your advice to them?
Look ahead, there's a right coming.
Now, I mean, that is the best answer I've ever heard. I love that. It's so true. Yeah. Forward, the right's coming.
There's a right turn coming.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And
My pleasure. Thank you so much for asking.
Oh, just an honor, honestly. I thank you all for watching today. And if you have somebody you'd like to recommend to be featured on If You Can, I Can, please reach out and call or text me at 843-368-1300. Go out there today, win your day, and just remember, if you can, I can.